welcome to Do It. I am Anders, and today we've got a great woodworking project for you. It's these awesome little 6-pack holders. I got one as a gift a while back from my friend. I use it all the time when I'm going to social gatherings, and I decided to recreate them to give it back as a gift. Let's get into it. So I was watching Tested before I embarked on this project, and Adam Savage was talking about how he always makes multiples of the project that he's doing because he inevitably likes one more than the other, and he figures a lot of things out doing the first one so he can make the second one better. So I followed this philosophy, and I made the board big enough so I could make 2 of these bottle holders. So once the board was all dried up, I planed it down to the final thickness, which I left at about 3/4 of an inch. I did this because it worked out perfectly for all the hardware that I would eventually attach, because none of the screws would sink below that point. A really nice part of this project was that I already had a functional model, so there wasn't any guesswork in the measurements. And what I did was I used this to make a cutout on plywood to help ensure that all of my parts would be exactly the same, because they would all be finished with a flush trim bit to this model. So I was actually kind of flying by the seat of my pants when I started this project. I knew how the ends should look, but I wasn't quite sure about the rest of the piece. And I ended up settling on maple. And what I did was I planed this down to about 1/4 of an inch thick. And this was for 2 reasons. Because I didn't need there to be a bunch of bulk on the sides of the container or the bottom. And also I was going to add in a 1/4 inch RABBET that these could sit in, so it would be flush all around. So once I was finished with the rabbets, I went ahead and did a dry fit on the project, and I marked on the inside where the top handle would be hitting the end pieces. Then I cut a piece to length that would match that to also help hide the screws that I would be using for the handles. So, if you've seen the channel before, you probably know that we have a laser, and if you have a laser, then you definitely have to use it. So we sanded this whole thing up to 220 grit, and then we applied a little bit of polyurethane because it's going to be in contact with some sweaty, ice cold crispy boys. We added a flag to the drill bit to make sure that we wouldn't drill down deeper than we needed to for the screws when we were applying all of the hardware at the end. So I had a blast making these, and I'm thrilled with how they came out. I learned a lot about woodworking in the process, and I hope that you learned a little something too. This is actually the first part of a two-part mini-series that we're going to be doing here recurringly on Do It, called Man vs. Machine. So I am playing John Henry for this one, and Simon will fire up the CNC for the next one. So if you're into CNCing, 3D printing, woodworking, laser cutting, we encourage you to hit that subscribe button because we have new content coming out all the time. And when you do, make sure you hit that bell icon to get those notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.